The Ash Spring Swamplands. After leaving the vestiges of Tristram, Talia the Ash Spring Swamplands. While Grimly Hammerhand's henchmen were looking for Talia and the
Oh.
whilst elsewhere,
Boys.
Grimly's scouts
重来一次。
The Ash Spring Swamplands. While Grimly Hammerhand's henchmen were looking for Talia and the Absolute Evil's army, they in turn were slowly marching through the gloom of the Ash Spring Swamplands towards the dwarven town of Steelsmith. This idyllic area provided the unique opportunity to secure additional allies. Undead. Whilst elsewhere, Grimly's scouts took the trouble to turn every stone in their search for Talia, and I mean that literally. She was marching towards the town of Steelsmith, the seat of the Dwarven King. However, after a not in the least bit subtle hint from the not at all tactful Evil, she had taken a little detour through the Ash Spring Swamplands. Here, the ancient, cursed bones of long-forgotten soldiers lay uneasy in their graves, waiting only for the necessary nudge to finally rise and play the Talking Dead, or whatever it's called. Unfortunately, and of course purely coincidentally, Grimly, the racist Dwarven King, was also currently in Ash Spring.
Aye, chop more wood. I don't have enough resources. I want to build a barracks to hire knights and foot soldiers. I also need some for these palisades. Which idiot is responsible for this, please? My right toe could build a better defense on its own. Now, fix it. And over there, we'll build a watchtower. Or two.
Grimly is here. Excellent. I'll beat every single God's-damned prejudice out of that bearded drunk's alcohol-soaked carcass. And some of these undead wannabes lying around here in their graves are going to help me. Let's see how that drunken idiot likes facing a few brain-hungry zombies. Not that he needs to be afraid with that little bird brain of his. Talia? Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? Undead? How low have we sunk? Ugh. Are you still there? I thought I'd finally seen the last of you in the previous mission. Anyway, shut up and let me work. I must raise the living dead.
So in order to start the Night of the Living Dead, our protagonist, the currently eating a chicken leg Evil's envoy, had to reach the region's largest cemeteries and recruit their undead.
I am the evil.
One of the lucky Evil's little snots had discovered a hidden arcanium. Here, demons could create valuable mana, which on the one hand they themselves needed, while on the other could also be used for powerful spells. And so it was that the first demon began to generate powerful mana in the arcanium. Ah, delicious mana. I like to spread it on my Sunday morning croissant as my wife passes me a cup of tea and massages my feet as I open the newspaper to the obituaries. But back to the subject. Manner was also important to the couldn't care less about Sunday morning croissants evil because, on the one hand, his higher level demons loved the stuff, and on the other hand, it could be used to cast powerful spells. Of course, the excited evil couldn't wait to promptly try it out. Your creatures have inadvertently dug into a dragon's nest.
On the enemy. And stay down. You showed him.
Payday.
What?
Population. Aye. That damn pointy ear twitch is sneaking around. Let's go, men. Double the watches and leave something for me.
What do you want? Ah, you have no chance against me and the ultimate evil. I can smell your beer breath all the way down into my dungeon, you drunken shrimp.
Spread out and find her.
The presence of the inconspicuous as a rainbow-colored dog evil's army was no longer a secret. In fact, it was amazing it had escaped the warriors of good for so long. Well, their leader was a dwarf and he had lots of beer, but I digress. Hopefully the dungeon's defenses are ready. Enemies have entered the dungeon. dragons have nested in the underground.
The absolute evil! Everything evil. Oh.
找错了。
From above. Everything good must die. I want Tanos's head. Must die. Command me.
Payday! Uh-oh, a spider nest has been unearthed.
All that is good.
I can't drink enough beer to make you lazy dogs bear them.
可以显示时间吧？显示时间。
Desire. Give your orders.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Thanos' head. I am the evil. Do you want to?
The dungeon heart is being attacked.
Thanos must die. Yeah? What?
等一下，这太尴尬了。
Evil will triumph.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Time to take out the trash. Destroy them all. What's up?
Defend the dungeon heart.
Head. Thanos must die. What?
靠背哦，为什么打起来了？
You desire?
为什么？
I am evil. Bye bye, baby. Command me. Give your orders. Yeah? Hasta la vista, baby. I want Thanos' head. Everything good must die. Time to take out the trash. Destroy them all. Who do you want dead? More power. More power. I want Thanos' head. once. Ha! Exactly. You got it in one. Time for me to raise a few undead. All right, you undead. Up you get. Fight for me and regain your honor. I am Isildur's heir. I mean, the deathly pale evil's messenger. Fight for me, and I will consider your oath fulfilled. An oath that you never swore. Excuse me, I seem to have mixed a few things up.
Splendid speech. But good enough for the mindless hordes buried here, who excitedly signaled their approval, even if it was with nothing more than a moaned brains. And so, the Walking Dead arose to serve the abominable evil. And of course, its eloquent envoy with the split personality.
Hey, I can hear you.
I certainly hope so. I don't want to just waste my insults.
We'll talk later. Go, undead. Destroy the living. What? What can I do for you? More undead joined the monstrous evil, and with a spirited, if moaned, brains staggered off towards the human defenders, the glorious...
Hey, that's my text. You don't even appear in this dialogue at all.
Your problem for taking such a long ciggy break. I'll take over your job in the long run. That's something we can both agree on.
Are your two personalities conspiring against me? Huh. As a narrator, I am unsurpassed. If you heard the stories I tell in the bar on weekends, forget about that. Additional undead have been secured for the insidious evil. Suddenly, a few dissatisfied bears appeared directly in front of Talia. Exactly, bears. And they attacked.
Hey!
This had nothing to do with a certain narrator's injured pride, but made total sense within the framework of the story. Biters, I mean zombies, I mean undead, oh, whatever. Rise!
Come on! Command me! Ha! Show him! Take that, you worm! Yeah?
And again, the brain-hungry zombies rose against the human defenses.
Even more undead. Yes, walk my mindless hordes and destroy the living. Do you always have to be so evil? Ugh. Is that a trick question? Naturally. Who, if not me?
And even more undead marched against the human defenses in the glamorous evil's name. They didn't stand a chance. But suddenly, and this had nothing to do with the protagonist's previous insults, evil bears once again appeared to attack Talia.
Hey, it's all right, okay? You can keep your job. I'm sorry.
Almost miraculously, a bolt of lightning hit the bears and killed them on the spot. Amazing. But of course, it all made sense within the greater framework of this story. And again, the brain-hungry zombies rose against the human defenses.
can't drink enough beer to make you lazy dogs bear.
Thanos must die. I am the Queen of Evil.
Oh,
I knew you'd need me. I am the Queen of Evil. Everything good must die. Ah! I want Thanos' head. He's not gonna get up. Did he want that? Everything good must die.
And again, the brain-hungry zombies rose against the human defenses.
I am the evil. Sure showed him. The power flows through my veins. What's up? Ha 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 ha! And stay down. Showed him.
Wow, 要等一下。
And again, the brain-hungry zombies rose against the human defenses.
小了。
You newborn babies and work faster and cry less than you lazy dogs.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Get the enemy!
And again, the brain-hungry zombies rose against the human defenses.
Holy absolute!
Cut more trees, you sleepyheads. We need more wood.
And me. Do you want me to do?
Payday.
What are you doing, you deadbeats? Are you seriously going to let a few old corpses get the better of you? Take care of this, before I kick your asses so hard you fly all the way to Stormbreeze, where you can tell Thanos personally what a bunch of goddamn cowards you really are. I have to leave you now because I have to prepare something back home. But you hold the fort here. Got it? Good. Then take care of them.
With these heroic words, Grimly, the great dwarf king, took to his heels and ran. Some might think it cowardly.
Yes, the damn coward. But we'll get him and then we'll organize an intervention. We'll tear him a new one.
My goodness, what a turn of phrase. Outrageous. Still, it was a desire I could only agree with. Come on, for the validation-craving evil.
看不住。
I'm the queen of evil. Evil is unstoppable.
Fighters, I mean zombies, I mean undead, oh, whatever. Rise!
Evil is unstoppable.
And the good people's defensive camp went up in flames. The pitiful survivors ran in panic and dispersed in all directions.
Ha! Those cowards. See how they run. Isn't that funny?
It does have something comical about it. Even the zombies emitted a laughing moan before pushing on to get some tasty brains before the others did. Then the living dead rose.
Triumph. Now it is time to find Grimly and give him his rightful punishment.
What rightful punishment?
Oh, rightful or not, what do I care? As long as the dwarf suffers!
The lands of Ashspring were wholly under the crazed evil's control. Every now and then, a confused zombie would pop up, even though the living had already been driven out. But that didn't matter, for the absolute evil's hordes set out for Steelsmith, King Grimly's headquarters.
Okay, let's go.
The Battle of Steelsmith. Led by Talia, the brutal evil's army had reached the dwarven town of Steelsmith and made ready to storm it. Inside, the fierce dwarven King Grimly planned its defense.
All right, you lazy buggers, get ready. That evil horde is going to show up with that pointy-eared cow any moment now. But Steelsmith is a fortress like none they've ever seen. So, take your positions, and don't forget the elf is mine. I'm going to make slippers out of her ears. Did you hear the rumbling? They're here. I feel it in my right corn. Send out the scouts! And prepare the Death Hammer!
Finally, the time of the great battle was at hand. Talia's troops had taken the quickest route from the Ashspring swamplands, and they were full of anger and determination to win this final confrontation.
I wouldn't say that. I'm still trying to persuade myself to return to the forces of good.
Okay. A part of Talia burned with anger and determination to win this final confrontation. Another wanted to form work groups and look after the bonsai garden.
Ugh, ignore my little moments. I'm going to crush that god's damned dwarf. He's made his last stupid comment about elves. I'm going to make gloves out of his beard.
What's this whole thing about everybody using bits of their opponents for slippers or gloves? That's incredibly unhygienic. The time had come. Talia began to raise a great army for the erratic evil.
That's where my dwarf troop was trapped. Good thing you found them. I wasn't looking for them. All right, men, tear the dungeon apart.
excavation happy evil came upon a room in which some dwarves were trapped. No matter how they got there, they didn't look at all grateful.
Where are you taking me? Ouch! Ouch!
Aye, did you find me lost mine workers, Talia? Nice of you. Right, lads, show her where the hammer hangs.
Oh.
Aye, did you find me lost mine workers, Talia? Nice of you. Right, lads, show her where the hammer hangs. Hey, Talia, open those pointy ears of yours. I have a surprise for you when the hells spawn. Something world-shaking. Come on, men! Fire the Death Hammer!
By the goddess. Is that...
Grimly had had a gigantic hammer built, the Death Hammer. This caused not only a disturbance in the force, but also in the ground, causing a massive earthquake. The effect on the dungeon was clearly noticeable. The dungeon heart in particular could only withstand but a few such blows.
How do you like that, you damned evil brood? Now, we just have to take a few minutes to rewind. But it was damn well worth it. Stay and enjoy the show, evil scum.
In his own lovingly insulting manner, Grimly made it clear to Talia and the perplexed evil that pulling back would not be an option. The giant hammer had to be destroyed.
We can't stay here. That thing has to be destroyed. After analyzing it briefly, I've discovered a great weakness.
Throw something through the 2-meter-wide cooling vent to destroy the reactor?
What? Nonsense! The thing is standing right there, so we can smash it to pieces.
Oh, why did I expect sophisticated tactics when I'm hanging around with bloodthirsty, not exactly intelligent evil creatures?
Destroy the good! Ow! Take that! yourself. You want kill?
Unearthed.
I am the evil. I am the queen of evil. Give your orders. Command me.
Your dungeon heart is under attack.
Oh.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Oh, dang! Heroes!
It's payday.
All that is good. What can I do for you?
Daughter, reconsider your deeds. You can still turn back. No one need die today. Except these disgustingly evil creatures, perhaps, but certainly neither Grimly nor you. This bloke is more stubborn than those phone marketing people who are always trying to get me to buy some shite.
I too think that we should maybe rethink this. It is now time for dwarves to die! What do you want me to do? so much for your death hammer, Grimly. Oh, did we break your toy? Are you going to cry like a little baby? Boo-hoo-hoo.
You'll pay for that. Don't be giving yourselves any medals yet. The Dwarven Empire will strike back. Of that you can be sure.
We could still solve this peacefully. You? Now? Really? In my moment of triumph? There is nothing you can't ruin, is there? Sorry. Holy crap! You're even good to me! Sister, you have some real issues. I have to go take care of a Dwarven king and tear his city apart. Follow me to Steelsmith!
再等一下。
Give your orders. I want Tanos's head. I'm the Queen of Evil. Give your orders. I will destroy this land. Everything good must die. Me.
Payday.
You want that? You want that? What can I do for you? These cowardly dwarves have actually blown up the bridge. I mean, it's good for my ego to be feared that greatly, but how are we gonna get through there now? I will destroy this land.
Hey, Talia, did you really think I didn't have another ace up my sleeve? I had a second death hammer built. It will tear your dungeon apart. Move it, men!
Another one of those things? Ah, damn it all anyway. Get ready for impact!
With a kaboom, the second death hammer hit on the ground and sent its destructive waves toward the dungeon. The dungeon heart groaned under the blow. This death hammer also had to be destroyed quickly in order to save the dungeon heart.
Just to make sure nothing happens to my poor little hammer, I also built an SLD-26 magical tower shield generator. So knock yourselves out!
Generously, the foolish Dwarf King Grimly revealed the safety mechanisms to the listening and taking notes evil. Before the second death hammer could be turned off, a team would have to land on Endor. I mean, the eager for a Star War evil had to destroy the magic shield.
Right then. First, we'll destroy the magical tower, and then Death Hammer number 2. No problem. We're good at breaking things.
The half-blind evil had yet to find another way over the demolished bridge. Had it even really searched for one? Needing an alibi, they quickly sent a few creatures swarming out as a vanguard. The having a look around evil's army had discovered a stone heap. Just a little brute force, and it would fall into the ravine to form something like a bridge. Computer game logic.
Okay.
What's up? Give your order.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. Defend the dungeon heart.
To all that is good. Die. I am the evil. Evil. Right. I will destroy this land. You want that? You want
Hey! Hands off my SLD-26 magical tower shield generator!
Hey, Grimly. Your toys break easily. My pals barely got their hands on it and it broke. So, people, let's have a look at this second death hammer, shall we?
Keep your hands to yourself and I'll bite your fingers off, you god's damn wench! Right, men, prepare the Death Hammer!
Grimly seemed a little desperate upon seeing the occasionally gigging as a stand-up comedian evil turned out to be a brilliant strategist. It relentlessly sent its armies towards the second Death Hammer.
Good will fall. Yeah? Oh, these things are pretty fragile, aren't they? Grimly, I think I accidentally broke both your hammers. I'm so sorry.
I'll strangle you in my bare hands, Gil! You goddamn disgusting!
In order to make sure we don't have to cut out all of Grimly's cursing, I'll just take over here. The brilliant evil had succeeded. The second Dwarven Hammer was also history, and its army marched inexorably towards the dwarven town of Steelsmith. Something else permeated the smell of metalworking that wafted from the city towards the dungeon. The smell of the dwarves.
For good reason, too. We're going to tear their city apart. We could still return to the side of good. Let me think about it for a second. No.
Hey, Talia, I have a surprise for you. You know that all good things come in threes?
Honestly, do you have another one of those damn death hammers?
A death hammer? Ha! I have 3 death hammers!
What? The whole thing times 3? Not very imaginative, if you ask me. You are so...
Stop! Hammer time!
Together, the 3 death hammers had a lot more power than a single one. It would certainly be better for the dungeon hive if they too were quickly put out of action. There are enemies in your dungeon.
What?
So, that's the way you want it. I'll take care of you myself. For death and glory, the horn of Grimly Hammerhand shall sound in the deep one last time. Men, let this be the hour when we draw swords together. Now for wrath, now for ruin, and for Red Dawn!
Finally, we meet Grimly. Your final hour has come.
You pay for this, you damn brat!
With these words, Grimly, the Dwarven King, breathed his last.
A well-earned victory for evil! Ha! All the legends and stories that revolve around good heroes. Utter nonsense. In the end, evil will always triumph. Time to enjoy my victory.
Talia, what have you done? You killed Grimly. I will have to punish you for this. Stay where you are. I'll be there in a couple of hours.
Apparently, Tanos was anything but enthusiastic about his foster daughter's deeds. The insightful evil knew that a confrontation was not yet advisable and ordered Talia to travel west. Always west.
We could always wait for Father and try to explain everything to him. Oi, 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 oh, come on. Even my good side can't be that naive. He'll skin me alive if he gets his hands on me. There's no way I should get anywhere near him until his anger is cooled. Oh, unfortunately, I'm afraid I have to agree with my evil me. We should let the grass grow over the whole thing first.
Oh, good and evil in agreement. A rare stroke of luck, I'd say. So, it was time to run. Here, the only problem was, as usual, his own death. After the Dwarven King Grimly suffered a premature death at the hands of the hero-beating evil's armies, the Dark Elf Talia got herself out of dodge. She took the evil creatures and retreated into the tunnels and mines of Steelsmith, which were connected to the most remote places in the world. The hasty departure proved to be very wise indeed, for shortly afterwards, Tanos appeared on the scene, and with him, a mighty army of good. when he found his dwarven friend's lifeless body, he screamed his pent-up anger out into the world, as overly emotional heroes are often prone to do. A few hours later, Tanos gathered with his 2 remaining comrades and commanders in his tent. We will now repeat approximately what was said. I, the evil will destroy us. We are lost. Wail, wail, and so on. In the end, Tanos called his fellow soldiers to order and commanded them to return to their respective empires and strengthen their defenses. So it was time to do what all good folks do: hide themselves behind thick walls in fear and hope that the storm would pass them by and hit the others. How exceedingly honorable. In the meantime, Tanos sent out some spies to track down his evil student. The Dark Elf had, by then, beaten her way through the mines of Steelsmith, accidentally awakened an army, and fled from a whip-swinging demon. The usual stuff that happens when traveling through dwarven tunnels. At least they had left Tanos and the armies of good far behind them, and now moved almost unmolested through the countryside, determined to continue spreading chaos and horror. The end of Burger's End. After Grimly's inglorious end, the insidious evil's army had gone through the mines of Steelsmith to escape Tanos' armies and his wrath. The old shafts brought them close to the busy town of Burger's End.
宝宝13小了，告别。唉，5颗机甲。
Talia and the all-devouring evil's army had left the mines of Steelsmith behind them, far from Tanos and his henchmen. The tunnels brought them close to the city Burger's End, in the Empire's hinterlands. Burger's End was known for its voracious heroes. More specifically, their appetites were legend... wait for it... dairy. They ate so much that the city had to be supplied with food from the surrounding area on a daily basis. True story.
These gluttons are going to be easy. Onwards, creatures of the deviant evil! Give these gourmands their just desserts!
This hasty attack wasn't the best idea, as the what is cannon fodder for evil's creatures all too quickly found out. These well-fed warriors proved to be exceedingly powerful and dismembered the advancing horde with terrifying speed.
That could have gone better.
Naturally, a battle like that can work up an appetite. Luckily, a transport full of food showed up shortly after the clash. The wheels quickly turned in the deceitful evil's evil brain. What if those deliverers were to have an accident on their way to the city, and the city suddenly ran out of food? It giggled a treacherous little giggle. Those wood piles could be used as a roadblock if they were put into motion with a few hefty blows. That would make transporting that food even more difficult.
Okay, then we'll starve the pigs out. A brilliant plan. Do we have to do this? I feel so bad about killing Grimly. Oh, I'm surprised. I thought that evil act would finally extinguish the good part of me. I guess I'll just have to put up with you for a while longer.
These schizophrenic monologues are really annoying. They prevent me from saying so much more.
Not the worst thing when I look at the reviews of the last game.
What? How dare you? Talk about cheeky. You haven't heard the last of this.
Yeah, cheeky.
In its boundless genius, the prudent evil had provided Talia with a few gobberbots whose combat strength would prove extremely useful. They were just, wait a minute, where are they?
Yes! They were supposed to be delivered yesterday, but the postman just left a note at the dungeon entrance saying that I wasn't home. I was here the whole time.
Oh, how I'd love to work with professionals. Just once. Professionals. Just once. Take a deep breath. Remember what they taught you. You don't want any more of those electric shocks.
Don't.
Fine. And so, the bad-tempered evil quickly threw 2 gobberbots into the dungeon. Then it went out to find that postman and beat the living crap out of him.
Dun, dun. Show.
Must die. Where are you taking me? What can I do for you?
The advance of the homicidal evil's armies had not escaped the voracious heroes of Burger's End in the short pauses between meals. They immediately sent scouts and combat troops out towards the dungeon.
Ah, these stuffed pigs will be a piece of cake. We could also deal with them peacefully, couldn't we?
That was a noble thought from the good Talia, but the heroes of Burger's End were not choosy about what they ate, and dark elf fingers were considered a delicacy.
Oh, disgusting! Right, let's roast these pigs. Oh, good call. Command me. I am.
The evilness collecting evil had, well, collected evil. Damned adjectives, whatever. It soon had the chance to research gobberbots, enabling it to recruit them itself in future. This extremely useful research would equip all normal goblins with a mech, greatly increasing their combat strength. Payday.
I will destroy this land. Everything good must die. Ouch!
不是说牺牲掉了？对。
Yeah? I'm the queen of evil. Who do you want killed? Command me.
Hopefully no one has arachnophobia. A spider nest has been discovered.
To die. We should use the wood piles to close the entrance to Burger's End. Fire! Show him. I am the Queen of Evil. Take that, you worm! I am the Queen of Evil. What do you want me to do? You decide. Yeah? Good will fall. Show him. Give your orders. I will destroy this land. Finally, we should send out a couple of creatures to take advantage of those blockades.
The first food delivery set out for Burger's End. Of course, the well-prepared and not at all surprised evil would never let it arrive at its destination.
I will destroy this land. What do you want me to do? I will destroy this land. Time to take out the trash. Destroy them all! And stay down!
Heyday! These wood piles close to the entrance to the city could make an excellent blockade. The slow evil quickly began to take advantage of them.
I will destroy this land. Good will fall. What can I do for you? Everything good must die.
Heroes are on their way to one of your islands of evilness.
Ha! This food delivery will never reach those gluttonous pigs in Burger's End now. Ah! Ha, ha. Tanos must die.
These wood piles close to the entrance to the city could make an excellent blockade. The slow evil quickly began to take advantage of them. One of your islands of evilness is under attack. The enemy has captured one of your islands of evilness.
I will destroy this land. What do you want me to do?
Oh, apparently a couple of heroes got lucky and caught a couple of goblins away from their gobobots on a pea break. You should free them as quickly as possible.
I am the evil. Ow! I am the evil. Ha 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 ha! Hasta la vista, baby.
These wood piles close to the entrance to the city could make an excellent blockade. The slow evil quickly began to take advantage of them.
Give your orders. Sure showed him. Give your orders.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Everything good must die.
Payday. These blockades were certain to be very useful to the sneaky evil in clogging access to Burger's End.
Everything good must die. Tanos must die.
delivery carrying a variety of culinary delights was on its way to Burger's End. How sad that it would never reach its goal. Thankful and relieved for the helping hand they received from the massacring evil, the goblins immediately joined its constantly growing army.
I will destroy this land.
These blockades were certain to be very useful to the sneaky evil in clogging access to Burger's End.
Everything good must die. Everything good must die. Ouch! You desire?
A satisfying crash and clatter heralded the unapproachable evil's army's destruction of the pixie camp. A wonderful thing, because the sound of their wings reminded me of the mosquitoes that attack me in bed at night, damn things.
I'm sure we could have come to a peaceful agreement.
Peaceful agreement with something that sounds like a mosquito? Trust me, there's no room for peace there, only total war. Even when you search every crack in the whole damn bedroom at 2 in the morning for the stupid things.
这样吧，看居然卡住了。